This is the tale of two revolutions, the American Revolution and the sexual revolution. My contention is that the sexual revolution was comprised of assumptions which were not present to the Founding Fathers and has the ability to destroy the purpose of the crown of the American Revolution, that is, the Constitution. The name and the circumstances motivating the Tea Party involving primarily financial issues, namely the audacious fiscal policies of the present government, address very legitimate issues. As a longtime pro-lifer, I'm kind of jealous that such excitement and energy and political effectiveness can rise so quickly when I consider that an even more grievous problem seems to persist decade after decade, that despite yearly rallies, hundreds of diverse grassroots organizations from political watchdogs to maternity homes and a major party which has a pro-life platform, somehow abortion goes on largely unabated, with over 1 million preborn babies falling through the cracks yearly by either surgical abortion or through pharmaceuticals labeled contraception, which are in reality abortifacients. Trying to logically look at the tea movement issues in an integrated way with what the sexual revolution does to the American Revolution and why fiscal irresponsibility is a natural outgrowth of that. In other words, can the Tea Party succeed if, as sometimes happens in the Republican Party, the abortion issue is swept under the rug to avoid divisiveness or whatever? What can the Tea Party do in law and in culture to get us back on track? Is the abortion issue a divisive, optional one, or is it a core issue without which success is neither possible nor meaningful? Taxation without representation. The basis of the original Tea Party involved the colonists' complaint that while they were being taxed, they had no representation in Parliament. Now, while we can legitimately complain that the majority in Congress is unresponsive to our calls for fiscal responsibility, constitutionally limited federal government, border control, etc., we have to admit that they got elected through the electoral process, some by substantial margins that can't be explained by voter fraud. And the new Tea Party is largely an effort to replace those who are not responsive. Taxation is only one tool of tyranny. The Constitution, with its checks and balances, federalism, the Bill of Rights, is designed as an insurance policy against tyranny. Like any insurance policy, there is a cost which is considered worthwhile to avoid some unacceptable risk. So, for example, we have the Second Amendment, which could contribute to some gun violence that might not have happened in other countries. But we are more safe from a bad government or from such elements as we see presently in Mexico, the drug wars. Same with the First Amendment, etc. They can all be abused, but we accept that trade-off. I define tyranny as a power group that does something unjust to achieve or perpetuate their power. We see elements of this in current events, such as efforts at amnesty to enhance voting numbers for parties that are otherwise having difficulty getting elected, funding of ACORN, the fairness doctrine to silence conservative talk radio or even internet. The power of graduated taxation and pork can certainly be used and is used by socialistic politicians, self-serving, to achieve an electoral power base. But the ultimate form of tyranny is outright killing by the dominant group of the less powerful that they perceive threatens their power or its perks. It doesn't have to be government. We see religious tyranny, tribal tyranny, etc., sometimes resulting in genocide. We know how the founding fathers, in order to get the Liberty Ball rolling, deferred the issue of slavery, thus leaving a group vulnerable to tyranny. But the kinds of tyranny we can observe today in D.C. are highly correlated with a pro-choice mentality, and I will attempt to address why this happens. Now let's jump about 100 years from the American Revolution to the sexual revolution. Its origins are very complex, and I can't treat it completely here. It developed from the late 19th through the 20th century as truly an intellectual evolution, that is, one might say an accidental conversion of pseudo-intelligent ideas that has culminated in rampant abortion, radical feminism, demanding equality at all costs, literally developed pharmaceutical contraceptives which didn't work well, and morphed into abortifacient, implantation prevention chemistry, and surgical abortion. Darwin's evolution, now scientifically debunked by intelligent design, but an entrenched virtual religion, complete with such holy rituals as ASU's Darwin Days, does wonders for decimating the concept of the sanctity of human life, and subtly Christianity, not only from the anti-creationist argument, but the necessity of an evolutionary process defies such an event as the resurrection. Freud has planted the fear that repression of sexual urges, once called chastity and seen as a virtue, is the new root of all evil and mental disturbance. The socialistic desire for the village to replace the nuclear family and church, modern video technology, combined with a concerted effort to engineer a culture of sexual chaos, have all contributed to a near-complete separation of sexual pleasure with the concept of a stable culture for children, the ultimate outcome of which is the abortion epidemic. But where the problem comes in getting a coalition to abolish abortion is that our society, even sometimes among otherwise conservative people, can't seem to decide where to place abortion in the equation. So using my vast math skills, I'll try to solve this once and for all. Like a math problem. As we move up in math education, we encounter letters among the numbers we call variables. Which is this one, the ubiquitous